All right, good evening. Welcome to the November 17th work session of the Lake Wales Charter Schools Board of Trustees. I would like to call this meeting to order. Ms. Charrington Gray, please call the roll.
Trustee Winfrey? Here. Trustee Blair?
I'm here. Can we turn that up? I can't hear y'all.
Trustee Marble?
Here.
Trustee Hutto?
Here.
Trustee Stewart?
Here.
Trustee Johnson?
Here.
Thank you. I will turn it over to Sean Arnold, General Counsel, for any attorney or board update.
Hi, good evening, everybody. Can you hear me okay?
Yes.
Great. Okay. Didn't have anything specific to talk about that's school related this evening other than a couple of policies that may be on later. I wanted to give you a little bit of a statewide update on a few things that have been going on. There's been kind of a narrative out there about charter schools, but specifically regarding schools at Hope that you've probably been reading about in the newspaper regarding facilities and other things like that. It's something that's giving a little bit of negative press to charter schools, but not something that affects any of our individual schools. So it might be important to kind of make sure that we're ready to talk to our constituents about that and our stakeholders about the fact that this is not the type of thing that is affecting Lake Wales or something that Lake Wales is engaged in. But I did want to talk about some more potential members coming to the conversion charter school family. The Newberry School will know tomorrow. We think that matter may be over, and then we may have another conversion charter school, which would be number 23 out there. And then also, since last time we've met, a project in Orlando that I think I've mentioned previously called Lift Orlando has been approved to be a partnership between the school district and that school. And the school district is actually going to go in and recommend that the parents vote for conversion to convert that school. And that's going to end up being a kind of a public-private partnership where Lift Orlando, that's pretty well known in that neighborhood, in that portion of Orlando, and it's invested more than $100 million into the neighborhood surrounding basically the football stadium in Orlando, is partnered with the school district to convert the charter school, and it's going to be they're committing to putting private dollars into upgrading a conversion charter school that is about 60 years old. So it's kind of an interesting project that's going on there. And I think that's why that's important, is to understand that there's going to be more attention maybe brought to the challenges that conversion charter schools have. And as you may have mentioned, more than half of the conversion charter schools are clients of our firm. And these two new ones would be as well. So I think that there may start to be a little more attention paid to the conversion charter schools. Finally, there's 2 or 3 different initiatives that we're working on that Ms. Conrad, myself, Mr. Smith, and others have been working on a statewide basis, and would have more of an update on that at the next meeting when some of those things go live. But I just want to let you know that we're thinking of you guys and the whole system, and have some exciting initiatives that I look forward to talking with you guys about in the future.
Right. Thank you, Mr. Arnold. We appreciate that update.
Thank you.
Moving on to agenda item number 3. This is ratification of seat number 7. Dr. Hutto, did you want to say anything on that?
Just during the board meeting, we'll be ratifying the appointment of Dr. TJ McKeon to the board.
Any questions or discussion on that agenda item? Right. Moving on to agenda item number 4, selection of seat number 8. Dr. Hutto, I'll turn that back over to you.
Okay, during the board meeting, we'll also be voting on seat number 8. We each submitted names, and the three names that we're going to discuss tonight are Sarah Jones, Skip Alford, and Gail Quam. So all of the trustees have received their resumes and bios. So I will open for discussion on the three candidates. If the trustees would like to share their thoughts on each, strengths, challenges, and who your choice would be. Ms. Winfrey, would you like to start?
I will. I don't know two of the three, but I do know that Gail Quam spent her entire life being an educator in the city and was a principal at one of our schools. So if we're looking for somebody who has knowledge of what it's like to be an administrator and a teacher in this system, who understands school budgets and charter policy, I cannot imagine a better candidate. And again, I don't know the other two, so it's not a personal, it's just practically, if we're running a school board, a career educator seems like a good fit.
Okay, thank you, Ms. Winfrey. Dr. Johnson?
I have the pleasure of knowing of each of them, not on a super personal level, but what I have heard about each of them just from people in the community, that they all are upstanding citizens in the community. And that's all I have to say.
Ms. Stewart?
I mean, I can just kind of echo what Dr. Lynn has mentioned here. I know of all three. Haven't met Ms. Quam, but resume definitely seems up to par. I don't really think we could go wrong with any of them.
Mr. Boyd?
Okay, I agree with what Jamie said, so write that down, put that in the record. No, she's, all that aside, Ms. Quam is just a wonderful person, and cares about our community, cares about our kids, and so my wife had the pleasure of working with her for a few years, and I never dreamed that she would even volunteer to do this, so this is awesome. So that's all I have to say about that.
Mr. Marvitt?
Well, I was one that nominated her, and so I do know that she would obviously be able to fit right in, and due to the shortness of the time frame that she is filling, I think that would be beneficial to the board to have somebody that wouldn't have much of a learning curve, if any. So although I think the other candidates are definitely qualified to be on the board, for what we're looking for right now, or what I'm looking for in a board member, I think that Ms. Quam would be a good fit for the board in the interim basis that we're looking for.
And I agree with everything everyone else has said. I actually brought forth Sarah Jones' name. Her and her husband have done some DJing at school events, and she's done a lot of advocacy in the community with the B Street Community Center and setting up that whole child supports for some of our students. Ms. Quam, I have, through my role at Warner, worked with her over the years, and she's phenomenal as well. Mr. Alford, I have a tremendous amount of respect for him, and I think he was brought forward just as our area is growing, just the support he could provide to us. But my only concern with him would be, it would be limiting his support because of sunshine laws, whereas just in his role as he is, we can talk to him at any time. But as a board member, we would be confined to sunshine rules as it relates to him. So do we have more discussion, or do we feel we'll be at a consensus for a vote?
Sounds like it.
Dr. Hutto, if I could also add that we went through resumes and did against the checklist that we had, and we believe all 3 nominations are qualified and can be approved according to our bylaws. Any other discussion? Right, great. Then we will go on to agenda item number 5, our updated enrollment policy. Within the packet, you have our updated enrollment policy draft. First off, I want to thank our principals and other directors, administrators that are in this room right now for your help in preparing this draft and making sure that we are really reflecting information and feedback that we've gotten from our community, from our staff, from you all, as far as the enrollment plan and the enrollment policy goes. So in the revised draft, we did a few updates. In the first paragraph, we made sure that we had in there the intention of within the first, when we became charter or we became a charter system, intentions and commitments that are in there. With that, we also defined in-zone and out-of-zone. In the original policy, there was a reference to like phase 1, phase 2. It felt like it was confusing. There were things that had been compiled or added to that policy like over time. And so doing the definitions and then making it clear about in-zone, out-of-school, where is out-of-school coming from? Out-of-zone, made to clarify that. So first off, in our charter contracts, we also went back and made sure that our charter contracts had matching language and definitions as well. So the first definition you're going to see in the policy talks about the greater Lake Wales area. And so that has always been the intention of our charter system, is that we are serving our children and our families in this area. And so with that, then we have in-zone definition, which refers to students with a primary residential address within the greater Lake Wales area. And once again, we're using the term greater Lake Wales area because of that growth that Dr. Hutto, you had just referred to in our last conversation. Out of zone refers to students with a primary residential address outside of the greater Lake Wales area. So making sure that we clarify that. So then we went into priority enrollment and then went through the conversion schools' statutory rights along with our startup schools. And our startup schools, as a reminder, is Bach Academy North and Bach Academy South, and making sure that the contractual language for both of those contracts are also clear and correct within that policy. Then we go directly into preferences granted by statute, and it lists the 6 priorities that are within there. We had a very good discussion with our administrators, principals, assistant principals, directors, to make sure we were clear on what we meant by those priorities within there, and in particular, talking through number 3 under preferences granted by statute, which are students who are children of an employee of the charter school and or the charter school system. So making sure that we were clear that it was actually the system, somebody who is on the Lake Wales Charter School payroll for priority. Then we went into further defining all in-zone applications taken first, and then out-of-zone applications taken from there. We then went in and had a discussion about deadlines and making sure that, yes, there are deadlines and there are late or like on-time applications and then late applications, and made sure that we differentiated between those. Then we went into controlled open enrollment, and that's also based on statute. And then we went into transportation. And one thing that we are recommending to the Board of Trustees and recommending with this policy is that there was a lot of language around transportation and who actually qualify for transportation and what that looked like. We took transportation other than this piece here and the term reasonable distance area. We took that out because we believe, Mr. Smith and Mr. Johnson and I, working on a transportation policy, that we're really clear on who we're going to be able to transport efficiently, safely, and once again with that commitment of serving our children in the Greater Lake Wales area. And then the last piece that was taken out of this policy was a question and answer section. We have been talking and working a lot about our policy becomes our foundation for how we build consistency and how we build systems and processes in the Lake Wales Charter System. And then from there, we're able to do frequently asked questions, questions and answer, building up the application, those things. But what we're really looking for within this draft is your approval so that we can build all those processes for consistency. So that's the short version. We spent a lot more time than that trying to put that together. And so I would open it to questions and discussion from the trustees.
I have a question, and it's just probably just a clarification. I know that I've heard in the community, there's always been discussion on out of Greater Lake Wales area applications into schools and being accepted over our students in the that's in Lake Wales versus, like Winter Haven or whatever. So is it safe to assume that D on this is basically saying that that those that are out of zone, yes, you can apply, but you will not be considered until all in-zone students have been accepted?
Yes.
Or is there any additional caveats that goes along with that? Because we know that's what it sounds like, but is there anything else? Because we're going to hear it.
Yes. So, and yes, thank you for that question. So if you go to the definition of in-zone means that you're in the Greater Lake Wales area and you may have preferences granted by statute. So let's say you are a Lake Wales Charter System employee, maybe your residential address is like Winter, do you know what I'm saying, Winter Haven, like you had just brought up. That would be where somebody that would
be a caveat to be
because
like, okay.
we're meeting these 6 preferences that are granted by statute. Does that make sense? So probably an easy way to think about this is first would be in-zone on-time applications, right? Like you need to have them in. And in-zone would also mean that there are the 6 preferences within the statute. Those would be in-zone. Then we would go to out-of-zone on-time applications. Then you would go to in-zone not on time, and then out-of-zone not on time. Does that make sense?
No, it does, and thank you for clarifying that, because I think that's the piece in the community that people don't hear. And I think that really clarifies some of the issues that I hear. My kid didn't get in and I live, right here. So, okay, I think that satisfies well.
Okay.
So I have a quick question now that you brought up that we're working on a transportation policy. So I assume that policy will be to us in the next several months and will be effective for the next school year. Would that be accurate?
Yes, that would be accurate.
Does that need to be done prior to enrollment as people look to enroll to know what the transportation issues potentially would be for them?
Yeah, so right now, that's why we have Section 5, which ends up being on the last page of your draft policy that talks about reasonable distance of the charter school. So that's where we're going to find that in transportation, and it would be my projection would be would be to you in January.
Okay, sorry, I don't have a Section 5. We have
Oh, I'm
Section
sorry,
4.
I should read my Roman numerals more accurately. It would be
Okay.
Section 4.
Okay, just making sure. Okay. All right, thank you.
I have a couple comments I want to say first, and then a couple questions. And we reviewed this, and I reviewed it with the superintendent. And I first want to say, I think this is a step in the, definitely in the right direction where we're getting some policy, and this is a great place to start. I think this will go a long way as far as transparency and trust within the community, consistency, fairness, all that good stuff, even efficiency within the administration as far as making sure everyone is on the same page with us having this here right in front of us. Question, I just kind of want to clarify. We had talked about the boundaries and of the greater Lake Wales area, as well as possibly going to zip codes to help. And I know we had a discussion, Superintendent, about the boundaries, the map being like outdated, 2004. So are we going to maybe kind of focus on updating the map, or we're going to rely more heavily on the zip codes, just so some of the other trustees can understand that as well?
Right. It's actually going to end up being both, because you need to recall in our charter contracts and in our pieces, it actually states in here that if you go to, and I have my Roman numeral right here, Roman numeral 2A, where it talks about the conversion schools and the statutory rights. So by vote of parents and teachers from the 5 conversions were converted to charter schools. Enrollment for conversion schools is controlled by State Statute 1002.10, parentheses C, stating that enrollment preference shall be given to students who would have otherwise attended that public school. So that's that original boundary area. But we also know since that time frame, Lake Wales has grown. Correct. And there's other communities that have been added into those different areas. So the students who would have otherwise attended each of these public schools are those residing in the greater Lake Wales area. Based on the growth in our community, greater Lake Wales residents will have priority enrollment based on zip codes as indicated by the local postmaster in the City of Lake Wales Planning and Zoning. Zip codes that are in zone will be listed on the application. So in other words, so that we can have that, same priority area. The attendance area is really going to help us guide how we're going to say what the reasonable distance is in order to be able to provide transportation. The other piece behind that is reasonable distance also has to factor in safety. So I think about some of the pieces that we've had at Hillcrest lately, and about you may live within a 2-mile distance, but that doesn't mean that it is safe to walk. Do you know what I'm saying? That particular distance. And so have we factored that into our transportation policy? So we want to have that discussion as well.
And just to, I guess, to clarify within the policy, should we, and this is a question maybe for you and Sean as well, maybe put a little blurb within the policy saying that the boundary map does refer to a 2004, I guess, map, so that that's clear to whoever's reading this policy as well as the community.
I can talk on that. So we did talk about the fact that it says who would have attended. I think your point's a good one, is we can do both, because the who would have attended is basically the 2004 map. We can add those two things together. And then Ms. Conrad or Ms. Marie or whoever has the document there, that 1002 that citation that's in there should say 1002.33 parent 10C. It seems like there's a 3.3 missing out of that.
Okay, okay.
I can send it to you during the break if you'd like.
Thank you.
Sure.
Superintendent Conrad, has the rezoning that our host district doing, will that impact our policy at all?
No, actually, last month I did attend the high school rezoning meeting. Next year, they will be rezoning middle school, and then the year after, they'll be rezoning elementary school. And all of that, charters technically do not have boundaries. And so, yes, they know that Greater Lake Wales will be served by our charter system, but is not impacted by their rezoning or their boundaries.
Thank you.
I do have one question. You said that the transportation part at the end on the last page, you're in the drafting process of that. many questions have come, even in the Teacher Advisory Council, and just also about walking, especially in elementary. We don't really have a policy about walkers, which might to some people sound unnecessary. But it's tricky because we have a lot of parents who will use the My Student's a Walker, but they're really just driving like off-road onto campus at various places. It's unsafe. So we've talked about even having them, like only a certain distance is permitted to walk. So I'm just curious, in the transportation document that we're working on, will walking be part of that, or will that just be buses?
So it would definitely, I don't know, Mr. Smith, did you want to answer that? Or like, it would definitely be about busing and providing transportation. It would be then with process at the school and how they set up, dismiss, you know what I'm saying, pick up, dismissal, drop off, that kind of thing, where we would need to provide the guidelines for that.
From what I have heard from various administrators and teachers is we would love that to be a system-wide policy so that it's not like my kid at Polk Avenue is allowed to be picked up anywhere I want, but my kid at Janie Howard has to be picked up right here. And so if we could do a system-wide policy where we're all on the same page, it helps not unnecessarily ruffle parents.
And I'm wondering if we could also get our friends at Safe Schools to help with that, because really what we're talking about is a safety issue, and maybe that's where that's going to live. But that's a great point.
Agreed.
This is an issue I've dealt with a ton of schools, so Ms. Conrad, I'm happy to work with you on that as well.
Thank you.
So it's my understanding, this is just a base policy, right?
Correct. This is
To
the base
get us
policy.
where we
Yep.
need to be, and then, okay, I got
Yep.
it. Yep.
Other questions?
I just wanted to mention too, I know y'all can tell I'm a little excited about this.
You're pretty excited about this, yeah.
As far as the mission and the values of the charter school, I think this policy is definitely in line with what Lake Wales Charter wants to do. And I've also looked at some of this stuff, and I appreciate, maybe small to y'all, but it is definitely, I think, and Sean, you can answer whether this is in line with Florida statute as well. So make sure we're all doing what we're supposed to do here.
Yeah. No, I'd be happy to. I went through this with Ms. Conrad, and she sent it over to me to take a look at in advance. So yeah, and I'm happy to help with all the different policies.
Right. Any other questions or pieces on enrollment? Right. If not, I would invite Marcia Rose, our Health Services, to come up and talk to us about our updated attendance policy. If you open in your agenda, you have the policy draft along with two different flow charts, one for staff and one for family. Ms. Rose.
Thank you. Good afternoon. In front of you is a proposed student attendance policy. This policy will establish a unified system-wide framework that ensures all Lake Wales Charter Schools maintain legal compliance, promote academic achievement, and prioritize student well-being through consistent attendance expectations. The proposed policy reflects our commitment to a strong partnership between our system and families we serve. With this policy, students are expected to attend 180 instructional days unless excused for specific, clearly defined circumstances. Parents will be responsible for timely documentation of absences, and schools will be responsible for accurate daily recording of attendance. The policy differentiates between excused and unexcused absences and will standardize documentation requirements. It also outlines expectations for tardies, early dismissals, and attendance for off-site instructional activities. Utilizing this policy, our procedure will be to use a tiered intervention model that facilitates early identification of attendance concerns and provides structured support for students and their families, ensuring we address every potential barrier and provide support for the whole child. Habitual truancy cases will trigger more intensive interventions such as home visits, referral to community partners and providers, and potential involvement of DJJ as defined by statute. The approval of this policy will promote operational consistency, strengthen accountability, and protect the integrity of our instructional hours. Many of you were able to participate last year in our attendance meetings, and we were brought to light all of our attendance concerns. Ultimately, this policy will help align our practices throughout all of our schools, in turn supporting our student academic success. Any questions for me? I love it.
So in the last attendance meeting we had, I guess, I think there's, at some point, I guess there's going to be a correlation between this policy and the enrollment policy. Is that correct?
Yes, sir.
Okay, all right. Just checking. I don't have any questions.
Okay. So this will be our first attendance policy. We have always defaulted to our sponsor district, but by law, we have to have our attendance policy. So I appreciate our law firm working with us on this. Julio, Ms. Griffiths, Ms. Barcenas, they have really been heavy hitters in helping put this together. I am so appreciative of them and of you last year, your time just sitting down every month, us talking about attendance. This is the groundwork. We have to have the policy. As you see, there are some procedures there for our families and for our staff. And as we align those, then we can look into making sure that we are being consistent with all of our schools and our students.
And I would just like to add, the flow chart is amazing.
Ms. Barcenas, she's...
It is amazing. It's very easy. I just read it. And it's very easy to understand. I mean, it lays out everything that the teacher must do, the parents do, and CST, how they get them. I love it. So good work to everybody.
Oh, that's exactly what I was about to say. Just want to commend the people that worked on that. But the flow charts, the policy is good, but the flow charts are absolutely amazing. And it's very user-friendly for parents. So thank you guys for everybody that worked on this.
Yes, they did an awesome job. Those are the practical pieces that we need. All right.
If I could give one more thing. The other thing about this is if you notice a theme of starting with a policy, putting together processes from there, and attendance is further along than enrollment because this work all started last year. And so I just commend everybody for working together to do what I've been calling closing the loop, right? When it comes to making sure that we follow up and like complete our actions with this. This is going to be great groundwork for consistency in attendance across our system. Thank you.
Thank you.
Right, the next one up, Ms. Hayward, if you would come on up for updated parent and family engagement policy.
Hello, everyone. We're back here again. We'll call this the culminating activity. Like every good lesson has an activity that pulls it all together. So this policy is our regulatory guidance for parent and family engagement, as it is described by ESSA requirements. There's not a lot of changes this year. We actually approved the policy in 2023, and we just updated some of the language to make sure that it was reader-friendly. We're following our guidance to make sure we are evaluating our policy and also working towards removing barriers for students that may be experiencing economic disadvantage, ESOL, or ESE students. So the only changes are the dates for now and your ability to revise or reread the policy for approval. Any questions?
Yes. Any questions?
Thank you.
Right. Right, and then agenda item number 8, financial report. Mr. Smith.
Thank you, Superintendent. Board members, item number 8 is the financials, monthly financials for the month of October. And as we normally do, we'll start with our narrative, just go through a few things here with the consolidated balance sheet. Across the board with assets and liabilities, pretty much flat compared to the previous month, with our assets only increasing $207,362 to $50.4 million. And our liabilities increasing slightly to $12,886 to $21.3 million. It's noted in the narrative that the increase in the assets was due to cash increase in food service, and then the increase in the liabilities is our normal payroll activity that kind of fluctuates up and down. Moving on to our statement of operations, page 4 through 13, we'll just kind of generally go through the highlight points of we had 36% completion, or we've received 36% of our revenues. Our student count, we're still collecting revenues on 5,035 students. We don't see that adjusting until we get closer into the spring period, and the revenues are at $16.7 million through the month of October, with our expenditures at $13.1 million. And so our excess revenues over expenditures at this point is $3.5 million.
Sorry about that.
That's okay. Any questions on the balance sheet or the income statement so far? Okay. Move forward on the supplemental programs. Those are pre-K programs and the after-school programs. As noted on the third bulletin, that Polk Avenue, Hillcrest, Jane Howard run a slight deficits, and then, as I've noted before, those programs will pick up and the revenues would actually catch up with the expenditures later in the year, whereas the Lake Wells High School and Babson Park through the month of October running have excess revenues, just slightly excess revenues. Both after-school programs are doing very well with Hillcrest and Babson Park through the month of October. Last month, I presented for you on food service, the food service fund, where we had a slight deficit or a significant deficit because we didn't have those revenues. Those revenues actually came in, so we have a huge surplus in the month of October of $460,377. Our revenues that we collected through in October were $955,649, and our expenditures are at the normal rate of $495,271. So we're back on track, and we kind of look to kind of stay in that particular position. Moving on to our federal programs, we're doing quite well because we a little bit over a third, right at a third of the way, and we've actually spent about 28%. So we're really doing very well in terms of utilizing our federal programs efficiently and effective. So I want to thank the schools as well as Ms. Hayward for staying on track of that, because in the past we've kind of been a little bit running behind in terms of spending those funds and spend them at the last minute. So we've done a very good job this year staying on track. All of our entitlement awards have been approved, and we're now just looking to see what we have to have in terms of our budget amendments that's pushed forward based on changes that the schools and the superintendent may have desired from our initial application phase. Notes within the transportation services through the month of October, we were at 30% at $850,645. So we're doing pretty well staying intact of that. So thanks to Mr. Johnson and his team for getting our students to and from school and from school back to home safely and keeping it in line with the budget. And our capital projects fund, as noted down below, revenues are actually doing pretty well for both Bach North and Bach South. $483,902 for North and $432,672. I like to note that both the allocations actually are sufficient enough to service the debt, and that is something to be proud of, because there were many years where we actually were having to borrow more money from, or I'll say borrow, but transfer more money in from the general fund, from the school's general fund, to actually make those debt service payments. So Very excited to see now that it's less of a burden on the school's operational costs to service that debt. Any questions on anything I presented so far? Yes, sir.
So, Mr. Smith, I know we had talked about previously, but on the statement of revenue and expenditures for the system-wide, which is page 6 of our package online, but page 4 of the document, there's a line item 33XX that stood out to me of being 372% over budget. And if I'm correct in assuming that that is a number we had to plug in based off of a calculation that had not been approved by legislation yet. And so we kind of had to plug in a number, but that will be adjusted when we get our revised budget in mid-year.
That is correct. 33XX, which is other state revenues, it's budgeted at 275. That was really a placeholder number. And what we do is we actually budget teacher salary increase allocations there. The approval of the budget was so late coming from the legislature, and we actually had already prepared that number, trying to anticipate where that increase would actually come from. So it was provided in the proviso language that we were to extract that from the FEFP funding, and we normally just break it out. So the majority of that, actually that $1 million is actually from teacher salary increase allocation. So that's why it's out of budget. But when we come to revision, since we do have a solid number, you'll actually see that a budgetary number that reflects the actual revenues that we plan to have in that category, and everything else will be adjusted.
Okay, thank you. The only other question I had or noticed was the expenditures on that same page for the board was almost 50% of our budgeted allocation, and I know you and I talked about, just want to make sure everybody was aware of that number constitutes legal fees, audit fees, expenses in support of the board, and probably a few other catch-all items that we don't really have for the central office. So even though that's a little high, we do have a new audit firm this year, so it's a different contract as well. So just wanted to let everybody know that why that number is a little high right now.
That is correct, Mr. Farber. Very similar to when Sean came aboard, those fees ran a little bit high as of all of the groundwork that they had to do to kind of get Lake Wales Charter School in a good spot. I think many of you remember the amount of time that he spent now. It's kind of tapering off. The audit firm is in that same position where they're having to kind of slug through some of the things that 20 years of whatever we have or don't have. And so those fees are on just a little bit high this year, and we anticipate them to fall off.
All right, that's all I had. Thank you.
Okay, moving on to the next section, if there's no more questions, which is actually personnel changes. And so I have the personnel changes as presented. And please note, superintendent will get into detail on the replacements of the interim principal position as well as the assistant superintendent, or I'm sorry, assistant principal position, on that. So she'll be able to kind of give clarification of that. Any more questions?
Just to clarify, the two listed as out of field we'll vote to approve on during the business meeting? There are two marked as out of field?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes, ma'am.
I may be missing it, but where are you looking at personnel changes? Oh, of the financial report.
Yeah, it didn't kick out into two separate documents. It's at the end of the financial report.
Sorry about that.
Any other questions on financials or personnel changes? All right, then we'll go into agenda number 9, superintendent's report. In your orange folder would be my report for November 17th, 2025. I also will send this report out to you via email and also share it with all of our administrators as well. So since our last board meeting, I have been present, visible, and of service in our schools and community. Here are some highlights. So right after we did our board meeting last month, we had the Robin Gibson Administrative Building Dedication Ceremony, and thank you for all who attended that. From there, we had our Lake Wales Charter System Education Foundation meeting, and we had an introduction of a few new members at our foundation meeting. I met with the Lake Wales Police Department in Altamont on photo enforced school zone speed compliance at Hillcrest, knowing that we're on State Road 60. The Warner University inauguration ceremony for Dr. Sutton. Lake Wales Pioneers Day and ceremony for Sharon Kushner as the 2025 Pioneer of the Year. The Teacher Advisory Committee, chaired by Ms. Winfrey and myself, met on October 27th at 4 p.m., and I think Ms. Winfrey will have more information on that. And then emergency response support for Hillcrest, and then debrief and after action, including safe schools, walkthrough with Lieutenant Lanier. The Literacy Parade at Polk Avenue, Lake Wales High School staff meeting, enrollment policy plan and attendance policy flowchart collaborative meetings, start of quarterly rounding meetings with trustees, Veterans Day breakfast and ceremony at Lake Wales High School, meeting with the Deputy Superintendent of Operations, Jason Pitts, and Assistant Superintendent of Facilities and Operations, Harry Fix of Polk County Schools, on our 5 conversion schools and opening communication with Polk County Public Schools, a better communication line on our facilities. A meeting with the Director of Leadership, John Hill from Polk County Schools, building a pathway for assistant principal and principal credentials for the Lake Wales Charter System, our ESOL Parent Leadership Council, and planning for bilingual Christmas. I'll do a little plug here in just a little bit. We also had our first snack and chat town hall meeting on November 13th at the First Institutional Missionary Baptist Church with over 35 attendees. So that was great. And then Lake Wales Charter System Behavioral Team Training session number 2 on Friday the 14th. I've also been engaged in problem solving in support of schools and navigating student, family, and staff issues in collaboration with human resources. And then multiple visits to all 7 schools that include morning meetings, classroom walkthroughs, teacher PLC meetings, breakfast, lunch supervision, drop-off, dismissal supervision, as well as principal rounding meetings. And just saying thank you once again to all of our schools for being very welcoming of me and letting me tag along on days when I come over to visit you. So. And then focusing on engagement, that is the biggest thing that we've been working through whether it comes with principal professional development, assistant principal professional development. But I want to focus on our teacher advisory committee meeting on the 27th, and maybe I'm stealing a little bit of this, Ms. Winfrey, but committee members established meeting procedures and generated hot topics. So that's what I like to call things that we bring up and we need to problem solve through to discuss. Minutes were sent out to all and will be shared after each meeting. I have gotten a lot of feedback that everybody was very grateful to be able to see those minutes. And our next meeting of our Teacher Advisory Council is scheduled for December 8th at 4:00 p.m. And we will be opening that line of communication. And then a little bit more information on community connections, that the first Snack and Chat town hall meeting was a success. That was on November 13th. Like I said, over 35 community members. We also had Lake Wales Charter staff attended the meeting on the 13th. And I just want to clarify that when we're doing town hall meeting with an engagement, it's going to look a little different than what we're used to when we start talking about town hall meetings, because it's not about me talking, it's about really getting your voice and your feedback. So with that, attendees participated in roundtable discussions centered around 3 questions. What should Lake Wales Charter System stop doing, continue doing, and start doing? Because we really want to hear from our stakeholders on those items. And so we will be sharing out the information gathered at each of the town hall meetings. But I do want to tell you that a common theme I've been hearing all over, no matter who I'm talking to, continues to emerge is consistency and communication and closing the loop. So we continue to invite stakeholders to provide crucial feedback at every single town hall meeting or in other areas. We have a QR code where you can provide feedback around those 3 questions. And then the last thing for the superintendent's report, if we don't talk about it someplace else in other business for the good of the cause, I know that several of you had talked about maybe how our meeting sets up and allowing some process time or time for more discussion. If we don't bring that up in a different spot, I would love for that to be discussed at Business for Good of the Cause. So one of the things in our the trustees that I've met with so far for our quarterly rounding meetings had a question about maybe breaking up our work session and our board meeting a little bit to allow time for either feedback, processing, those types of things. So I want to make sure that gets brought up. Okay. And then the next thing on my report here is interim principal and stipend for Hillcrest Elementary, and interim assistant principal and stipend for Hillcrest Elementary. So that will go to the board during the meeting, but I would like to introduce Miss Sheena Thate, and she will be our interim principal appointed at Hillcrest Elementary School. Miss Thate had been the assistant principal, and we have decided to go with an interim position. One, we want to make sure that all of our principals in our Lake Wales charter system are certified going forward, and we also wanted to make sure that all of our principals, that they're at Hillcrest Elementary, that there is a continuity in our planning and our progress that we have done. And Ms. Thate has agreed to step up and act as that interim principal for the rest of the school year. And then we have Dr. Acevedo, who has stepped up to be our interim assistant principal at Hillcrest Elementary, because Ms. Thate will go back to the assistant principal position at the close of the school year, and he has stepped up to take on that assistant principal piece. And things have been going very well. I actually had a staff member stop me and say, Ms. Conrad, Ms. Thate and Dr. Acevedo are doing a great job since they've taken over. So there, yep, I was going to say, way to go on that. So going back to why are we doing interim principal roles, if you recall in the superintendent's report, I had stated that I had been working with Mr. Hill with assistant principal and principal professional development and making sure that they are getting their certifications. Currently, right now, we have approximately 10 individuals that are in the principal level 2 cohort to have their principal certifications. We want to make sure that we have individuals within our charter system that are eligible for that principal position and actually do a search with all stakeholder input. And so that is why we chose to do the interim route for Hillcrest, to make sure that we could be able to do that. So I'll pause. Any questions or discussion? All right, and then for D and E on the agenda, the work session minutes and the meeting minutes were there for your reading pleasure. We will approve those at the meeting here in a little bit. And our next meeting date, Board of Trustees work session 4 p.m. and board meeting at 5:30 p.m. is on Tuesday, January 20th at Lake Wales High School in the auditorium. Dr. Hutto, chair report.
I just have a couple shout outs. I've attended both Hillcrest, and Polk Avenue SAC committees. And I also want to commend Ms. Thate and Dr. Acevedo for the work they're doing. And just in both schools, just the focus on their goals that I've seen. I know that's across our system. I just want to compliment all of our schools on that. A special shout out to Becca Flaming, who is the Lake Wells High School ladies volleyball coach. She was named the 5A Coach of the Year, and one of her players, Katie Baker, was the 5A Player of the Year. So that was an awesome accomplishment for them. Shout out to Highlander Band and Miss Stella Cerda and her staff. They earned straight superiors at their competition. We've got district champions in cross country and men's swimming, runner-up for girls golf, and just our athletic teams are doing a phenomenal job as usual. A special shout out to our FFA chapters, both Bach North and Bach South, as well as Lake Wells High School, earned the 3-star National FFA Chapter Awards, which is not an easy accomplishment. So for all 3 of our secondary schools to have achieved that, I'm just super proud of them. A couple of the trustees have asked me questions about ESE after visiting Janie Howard, and I just want to make a recommendation. You guys get with Ms. Barrow. She has parent involvement council meetings quarterly, and just the information she presents, she gives local, state, national updates. And then there's always some educational piece about working with students with disabilities. And it's all through Zoom, so you can watch it from the comfort at home, but it's definitely good information. Ms. Winfrey?
So basically, we did have our first teacher advisory council meeting, and it was great. There's 2 teachers from each campus involved, and it's interesting to see how even from elementary to middle to high, a lot of the questions or concerns are very similar, which is helpful in navigating things. Lots of questions about policy updates, like, do we have an attendance policy? Do we have a transportation policy? Do we have a behavior policy? And so it was helpful to be, those are already being thought through and worked on, and so that's great. One of the themes was loving the autonomy of each school, that each school gets to think for themselves and do its best for their unique populations, but still wanting some continuity in our system where that's helpful. So things like even winter dress and parent communication and the way we handle certain situations, we do want that to be similar. And so we even just navigated our first winter dress, and it went out as a system. And I do our social media, so that's helpful. But it was great. The teachers on that advisory council are fantastic, and it's great. And like Ms. Conrad said, our next one is the second Tuesday in December, I think. The second Monday in December. That's great.
Dr. Johnson?
Yeah, just kudos to Jamie on the teacher advisory committee. I was able to read over the minutes, and I know during the process of hiring for the superintendent, a lot of the concerns that came up, we are addressing them through several areas, and so I'm just excited about that. I had the opportunity to go to Jamie Howard Wilson's SAC meeting, got to spend some time with Ms. Griffith and her team over there, and if you've not been to Jamie Howard Wilson, they are doing some amazing things over there. Got a chance to sit in the ESC, yes, very eye-opening as to what her and her staff deal with, I'm hearing, on a constant day-to-day basis. So I will definitely be reaching out to Ms. Barrows to see, just really looking into that entire situation to see how we can improve that for her and her team. They work really well together, and even when I walked into that situation, they were handling it so well, and I commended her even then on that. So as a board, I would like for us to really see what we can do in order to extend additional help for her at Jamie Howard Wilson, and so that's all my update.
Ms. Stewart, do you have an update? Mr. Blake?
Not really. One of the things I'd like to suggest is if we could move our meeting to somewhere else. I love all this noise going, cheerleaders, football team, weightlifting, whatever it is, this is their place, right? This is not our place. So just as a thought, if there's a place we could go where, so anyway, just a thought.
Mr. Marbett, do you have anything?
Just a few things. I know we're going to get to the school updates, but sometimes we run out of time, so I'm going to ask a couple of questions on the school updates. I talked with Mr. Smith on one of them, so don't think if I don't mention you, I'm not thinking about you. And mainly this is facilities, but I wanted to see how Babson Park was coming along with a timeline. Do you have a timeline yet on the repairs?
No, sir.
Okay.
About our repairs, other than Mrs. Conrad spoke to Mr. Jakes last week, and he's supposed to update her, but we have not heard anything in several weeks.
Okay. And then on Janie Howard Woodson on the AC for the cafeteria, I believe, is there any progress? I keep seeing that on there, but is that school board? We're just waiting on school board? Okay. So those things seem to be a little critical for the system. I did talk to Mr. Smith about the lift station at Bach South. It's a very complicated situation there. So the only other thing, well, two things that I wanted to talk about was the splitting of the meeting. I have brought that up several times with the workshop and the school board meeting being on the same day. I was waiting till we had a new superintendent in to kind of bring this up again to get her opinion. So I'll tell you a couple of things. Reason why I think it's beneficial is because even though we have an agenda and people can come and talk about the agenda, until you hear what a trustee says about something on the agenda, then that may raise a question. But yet they have no time to talk to us or anything before we vote on it, literally 30 minutes later. So I think we're doing a disservice to the community and the staff by not giving somebody a chance between the work session and the meeting. Historically, we used to do that. Now we no longer do that when COVID came along. And then in my talks, I talked with our attorney, Sean, and he said that all the other school boards have it all on the same day. So we are doing the exact same thing that everybody else is doing. Doesn't mean it's right, but that's what we're doing. So I know it's another meeting, it's another day, it's a lot of conflict. I would prefer it not to have to be 2 days apart, so I thought about an idea is maybe we could, at a minimum, start the workshop an hour earlier at 3, so that we would have a pause between the workshop and there to give some attempt to input. Then that way we don't have to have 2 different days. It's 1 more hour of commitment of your day on the board day. So hopefully that's an opportunity. I don't know if our Chairman Hutto could talk with that with the superintendent and see if that's something that we want to put on the agenda for later for a vote. I don't know if anybody else has any questions or concerns about that. So that's one thing. That's the last thing I had is, as Sean has mentioned earlier in our meeting today, there is some steam picking up for conversion charters again. There hasn't been a conversion charter, I think I remember, since we converted. So that no longer requires a teacher vote. It's just a parent vote now. And as you can see, there's already conversions starting. Maybe it's time for us to talk about McLaughlin again as a conversion charter to convert into the system. I know that's been off and on the table for many, many years since day one. I don't know if we need to form a task force to consider that, but I think that's something that we might want to consider so that we do have a seamless community for that. And we could talk about the other schools that are within the Lake Wales area as well. But anyway, that's what I had. I don't know if anybody's got any more comments on my splitting the meeting or just having the meeting an hour earlier or something like that. But I know it's not an agenda item, so we're not voting on anything.
I will speak to the splitting the meeting thing. I think there's wisdom in that. I know it's difficult, but for my role specifically, like, I don't have a vote. I just get to help y'all know what teachers at least want, and I don't really have a lot of time to gather that information. I will say moving it to 3 o'clock wouldn't help teachers at all. They are all still with students at that time, so they wouldn't be able to chime in. Like 4 o'clock is even hard for a lot of our staff. I think middle school's still teaching at that, so 3 o'clock wouldn't be helpful for teachers, maybe community members, but not educators. So I think there's wisdom in finding a way to separate the two meetings. I don't know if it's possible to have, like, could today's work meeting be for next month's board meeting? Is there a way to stagger it like that? Whereas what we're discussing today will be voted on in the next month. So that, I don't know, that to me feels like a better fit where you're still meeting one day a month, but you're gonna vote on that gives teachers a month to think through things, talk through things, people to formulate ideas, but moving it to 3 o'clock would not be helpful for schools.
Yeah, I think we talked about that once before, about having the workshop, well, how she explained it, the 30 days.
What she said.
Right. What she said, the 30 days in between time, give everybody time to think and marinate on whatever's going on. I wouldn't be opposed to that. So I think that's actually a good idea, because sometimes I need to go home and do some research myself. So.
And I would just like to add, I know when I first came on the board, the discussion was brought up, and based on the folks that had been here a while, one of the reasons why they said they moved it to one day was because when it was split, people did not come either way. So it was like we were doing it split so that people could attend. People didn't attend, so we moved it into one day. So we need to also take that into consideration too. So I would be in agreement with the work session a month, and then us not voting until the next time.
Yeah. Any other comments? My only concern would be is, like, do we have, like, at the pace, we're going to have to get, how do I say this? Like, if we're trying to be proactive, we're going to have to get our pace of how we do things on, do you know what I'm saying, on schedule. Because, do you know what I'm saying, like, I'm giving an example, we're going to vote on things today. And so, like, if we had a work session, we won't be able to vote on it until January. So that would be one thing to think about.
Can we place it on the agenda for our next meeting, just to give us each time to kind of brainstorm some solutions?
Yep, absolutely. All right, and then any question we have, school updates is the next work session item. Any questions for our schools on school updates? So I know right now that we may not have any questions, but I do want to do a shout out to our principals for putting the school updates in there. That is super helpful for our community and anyone who is interested to know more about what is going on at each of our charter schools. So thank you for your work, and thank you for doing that. And then number 12 is any other business for the good of the cause today? And Mr. Marbut already brought up the one that I thought we were going to talk about there, so we're good. All right, going once, going twice. Right, I move to adjourn our work session for today. Thank you. We'll be back online here at 5:30 for our official board meeting. Thank you.
Okay, good evening. I'm going to call this meeting of the Board of Trustees to order, and Trustee Blair is going to lead us in the invocation and Pledge of Allegiance, so if you could please stand with us.
Let's pray. God, we thank you so much for this time here today. And Lord, we have a lot to be grateful for during this holiday season. And Lord, I just ask that you bless our time today, that we make wise decisions and for what's best for our students and for our staff. And Lord, just ask a special blessing on all those that we're here to celebrate today as well. And bless our business meeting. It's in Jesus' name I pray. Amen.
Amen.
The first item on our agenda is approval for the ratification for seat number 7 of Dr. TJ McKeon. So I will entertain a motion.
So moved.
Second.
Moved by Marvitt, second by Blair. Any discussion? Marie, will you do a roll call, please?
Trustee Blair,
Yes.
Trustee Marbutt,
Yes.
Trustee Hutto,
Yes.
Trustee Stewart,
Yes.
Trustee Johnson. Yes. Madam Chair.
Motion carries. Dr. TJ McKeon, will you please come up to the podium? Please raise your right hand and repeat after me. I, TJ McKeon,
I, T.J. McKeon,
do solemnly swear
do solemnly swear
that I will support, protect, and defend
that I will support, protect, and defend
the Constitution and government of the United States of America
the Constitution and government of the United States of America
and of the state of Florida,
and of the state of Florida,
that I am duly qualified
that I am duly qualified
to hold the office of trustee
to hold the office of trustee
of the Lake Wells Charter Schools,
of the Lake Wells Charter Schools,
and that I will well and faithfully perform
and that I will well and faithfully perform
the duties of trustees
the duties of trustee
of the Lake Wells Charter Schools.
of the Lake Wells Charter Schools.
Thank you. Welcome to the Board of Trustees, Dr. McKeon. Next on our agenda, we have some board recognitions and celebrations. So trustees, if you can join us down on the floor.
Vote them half and half.
Yep, and our request would be half go in this direction and the other half come in this direction.
I think we're all going to go this way.
You're all going to go that way?
But we're all
Sounds
gonna
great.
get on the hat.
Yes, sounds great.
A little tight.
Our first recognition for this evening is Semco Construction, Inc. Could you please come forward? And Mr. Locke, you are representing Semco. Thank you. Thank you for providing outstanding support to the Lake Wales Charter System. Can I put you in the middle right over here? And for a little background, Semco was our main contractor for our 1919 building for Bach North Academy. Right, next up is Jay Griffiths, Lowe's of Lake Wales. Please come on down. Thank you for providing outstanding support to the Lake Wales Charter System. Lowe's was a key contributor, Mr. Griffiths, in doing our outside landscaping and helping our newly named Robin Gibson Administrative Building to get it ready for the dedication. Thank you so much. All right, next up in our thanks and recognition is Mariano Rios from Polk Avenue Elementary School. Please come on up. Yes, come right over here. And Mr. Rios has been key in helping us with our landscaping and making sure that we continue to look good at Lake Wales Charter System. Oh. Thank you. All right, next up, we have our Edward W. Bach Academy North cheerleaders. Come on down. I was going to say, can you like sit on the steps right here? That'd be great. Now, you may be wanting to know why we are recognizing our cheerleaders and our cheer coach and our supports here is because they did an awesome job helping us celebrate the opening of our 1919 building and always bringing the spirit. And here, wait a minute. I was going to say, is everybody in the camera, or are we going to need to do another row? Do another row? Can we have a knee down on the second row? Yeah. Or we can do yep, there you go. Oh, wait a minute. I just heard from Miss Speed. You just won first place in your cheer competition? Yes, all right. Woo! Just do a knee. Oh, that'll work too. There we go. Here we go. Woo! Thank you. Oh, no, you're good. Let me weave in and out. And this is all on camera. It's all good. All right, next up, not only did we have the spirit, but we also had the rhythm. So Edward W. Bach Academy North Drumline, come on down. And thank you for providing your outstanding support. Okay. Do we want to do a knee or down one? All right, thank you, Drumline from Bach Academy North. And some more from Bach Academy North. We have Edward W. Bach Academy North FFA ambassadors. Come on down. Thank you for providing outstanding support for our Lake Wales charter system. And who is taking our plaque? The president, Madam President.
President McKeon.
Okay, thank you. All right, next up, we have our Lake Wales High School Scottish unit. If you would come on down for bringing the spirit to our welcome back ceremony. Come on down. You were like, we didn't know we were doing pictures. Welcome. Thank you so much. All right, next up, for also bringing the rhythm and to several different events, we have the Lake Wales High School Drumline. We need some representation. Thank you. And our drumline also performed at our welcome back ceremony, as well as our dedication of the Robin Gibson Administrative Building. Thank you. There we go. All right, and I believe this is our last recognition for the evening, is our Lake Wales High School Band, who has recently received superiors, straight superiors, as well as once again bringing the spirit and supporting Lake Wales charter schools. You're welcome. Okay. Yeah, hold it in the middle. There you go. Thank you to everyone who came to be honored tonight. Yes. We appreciate you, and I can say this has been this has been my number one board meeting, right, with all the recognition. So thank you for supporting Lake Wales Charter Schools. Dr. Hutto, Chair Hutto, I will turn this back over to you for our next agenda item. Thank you.
Next on our agenda is scheduled persons addressing the board on agenda items. Marie, do we have anyone?
No, ma'am.
Okay, we will move on to approval of seat number 8, our new trustee. So I will entertain a motion for that position.
I would move that we select Gail Quam as our trustee for seat 8.
Second.
Motion and a second by Mr. Blair. Is there any further discussion? Ms. Marie?
Trustee Blair,
Yes.
Trustee Marbut,
Yes.
Trustee Hutto,
Yes.
Trustee Stewart,
Yes.
Trustee Johnson,
Yes.
Trustee McKeon,
Yes.
Madam Chair.
Okay, motion carries. So congratulations to Ms. Gail Quam, our newest trustee. Next on our agenda is the approval of the interim principal and stipend for Hillcrest Elementary. I'll entertain a motion for approval.
I motion.
Motion by Dr. Johnson. Is there a second?
Second.
Second by Mr. Marbut. Is there any further discussion? Ms. Marie?
Trustee Blair,
Yes.
Trustee Marbut,
Yes.
Trustee Hutto,
Yes.
Trustee Stewart,
Yes.
Trustee Johnson,
Yes.
Trustee McKeon.
Yes.
Madam Chair.
Motion carries.
And so-
Congratulations, interim
Yep, come on up, Ms. Tate.
principal, Ms. Thate.
Thank you.
Yes.
Am I allowed to speak? All right, I apologize, allergies are getting to me, but I do want to thank a couple of people that are here. First, thank you Superintendent Conrad and board for giving me the opportunity to continue leading at Hillcrest. I do want to thank my family, my daughters, Malia, Michaela, my best friend, and my brother, all of my Hillcrest family that's in the back. Thank you. Thank you guys for supporting me and being with me and helping me get through it. I'm excited, very excited to continue the year with you guys and continue in our growth. So thank you guys very much.
Next on the agenda is the approval of the interim assistant principal and stipend for Hillcrest Elementary. I'll entertain a motion. Okay, motion by Mr. McKeon. Second.
Second.
Second by Mr. Marbut. Is there any further discussion? Okay, motion carried. Oh, sorry, Ms. Marie.
Trustee Blair,
Yes.
Trustee Marbut,
Yes.
Trustee Hutto,
Yes.
Trustee Stewart,
Yes.
Trustee Johnson,
Yes.
Trustee McKeon,
Yes.
Madam Chair.
Motion carries. Congratulations to Dr. Julio Acevedo, and thank you for all that you do. Next on the agenda is the approval of the updated enrollment policy. I'll entertain a motion.
So moved.
Moved by Ms. Stewart. Is there a second?
I'll second.
Second by Mr. Blair. Is there any further discussion? Ms. Marie?
Trustee Blair,
Yes.
Trustee Marbut,
Yes.
Trustee Hutto,
Yes.
Trustee Stewart,
Yes.
Trustee Johnson,
Good.
Yes.
Trustee McKeon,
Yes.
Madam Chair.
Motion carries. Next on the agenda is approval of the updated attendance policy. I'll entertain a motion for approval.
So moved.
Second.
Moved by Blair and second by Ms. Stewart. Any further discussion? Ms. Marie?
Trustee Blair,
Yes.
Trustee Marbut,
Yes.
Trustee Hutto,
Yes.
Trustee Stewart,
Yes.
Trustee Johnson,
Yes.
Trustee McKeon,
Yes.
Madam Chair.
Motion carries. Next on our agenda is the approval of the updated parent and family engagement policy. I'll entertain a motion for approval.
Second.
Moved by Ms. Stewart, second by Dr. McKeon. Any further discussion? Ms. Marie?
Trustee Blair?
Yes.
Trustee Marbut?
Yes.
Trustee Hutto?
Yes.
Trustee Stewart?
Yes.
Trustee Johnson?
Yes.
Trustee McKeon?
Yes.
Madam
Motion-
Chair?
Motion carries. Next on the agenda, we have the approval of the Board of Trustees work session minutes from October 20th, 2025. I'll entertain a motion for approval.
So moved.
Moved by Mr. Marbut,
Second it.
second by Mr. Blair. Is there any discussion on the minutes? Ms. Marie?
Trustee Blair?
Yes.
Trustee Marbut?
Yes.
Trustee Hutto?
Yes.
Trustee Stewart?
Yes.
Trustee Johnson?
Yes.
Trustee McKeon?
Yes.
Madam Chair?
Motion carries. Next on the agenda is approval of the Board of Trustee meeting minutes from October 20th, 2025. I'll entertain a motion for approval.
So moved.
Moved by Mr. Marbut.
I'll second.
Second by Ms. Stewart. Any further discussion? Ms. Marie?
Trustee Blair?
Yes.
Trustee Marbut?
Yes.
Trustee Hutto?
Yes.
Trustee Stewart?
Yes.
Trustee Johnson?
Yes.
Trustee McKeon?
Yes.
Madam Chair?
Motion carries. Next, we move to our financial report. So I'll entertain a motion for the approval of the financial report for October 20th, 2025.
So moved.
Moved by Dr. Johnson,
Second.
second by Mr. Marbut. Are there any questions or comments on the financials for Mr. Smith? Ms. Marie?
Trustee Blair?
Yes.
Trustee Marbut?
Yes.
Trustee Hutto?
Yes.
Trustee Stewart?
Yes.
Trustee Johnson?
Yes.
Trustee McKeon?
Yes.
Madam Chair?
Motion carries. Next on our agenda, we have the approval of personnel changes. There were 2 out of field that we're voting to approve. I'll entertain a motion for that.
So moved.
Moved by Ms. Stewart,
Second.
second by Dr. Johnson. Is there any further discussion? Ms. Marie?
Trustee Blair?
Yes.
Trustee Marbut?
Yes.
Trustee Hutto?
Yes.
Trustee Stewart?
Yes.
Trustee Johnson?
Yes.
Trustee McKeon?
Yes.
Madam Chair?
Motion carries. So I'll turn it back over to Ms. Conrad for any additional information on the superintendent's report.
Thank you, Dr. Hutto. I had given a comprehensive superintendent's report during the work session. Once again, I want to continue to invite individuals to contact us, connect with us at the upcoming snack and chats and town hall meetings with us. And thank you for everybody that did attend last week at the First Institutional Missionary Baptist Church for our very first town hall meeting, so thank you for that. My other piece would be our next board meeting will be January 20th, 2026. I can't believe we're saying that, at 5:30 p.m. at Lake Wales High School Auditorium is our current location.
Thank you, Ms. Conrad. Next on our agenda is scheduled persons addressing the board on non-agenda items. Ms. Marie, do we have anyone?
No, ma'am.
Okay, next we have chairman's report. I don't really have anything other than what I shared in the work session, but just to all the groups recognized tonight, I mean, that's just a great celebration of who we are as a charter school system. So thank you, Ms. Conrad, for bringing those back. Trustees, does anyone have anything additional they'd like to share?
I'd just like to welcome our new member, Dr. McKeon and Mrs. Quam. And really, I think they're 2 quality additions to our board. So I'm really excited about where we've come from and where we're going. So excited.
Thank you, Mr. Blair. I echo that. I feel the exact same way. Any other business for the good of the cause? So if there is no further business, meeting adjourned. Or do I need a motion to adjourn?
Yes.
Okay, can I have a motion to adjourn the meeting? So moved. Motion by Ms. Stewart, second by Mr. Blair. Any discussion? Okay. Roll call, Ms. Marie.
Trustee Blair,
Yes.
Trustee Marbut,
Yes.
Trustee Huddle,
Yes.
Trustee Stewart,
Yes.
Trustee Johnson,
Yes.
Trustee McKeon,
Yes.
Madam Chair.
Meeting